Public input about the marijuana ordinance. Marijuana ordinance number 138 places a permanent prohibition of marijuana for the town of Arriba. We have been operating under a moratorium that still has some time left on it, but it became necessary to go ahead and move forward with a permanent prohibition of marijuana. So it's been the opinion of the board to be in line with Lincoln County, the greater Lincoln County. Prohibition on marijuana as well as our neighboring towns. So I am going to go ahead and keep time and call it on time. First on the list I have Lindsay Mitchell. Okay, go ahead, Lindsay.
Sure. Just wanted to say that I am in favor of keeping the marijuana ordinance, carrying it into an indefinite. Speaking from a medical perspective, I guess, I know that there are other options and good uses for it in a medicinal way, but I do not feel that it brings necessarily good things that we would want through our school districts in our town, as community members.
Thank you. Next.
Can we get a little background as to what's going on for the ones that haven't really been involved? Is there some, attempt to develop a business like this, or?
There has not been anything formal come to the board. There has just been talk about the getting our situation in order, because back in, was it 13 or 14 we did this? 14. September of 14 we passed it, but there was a group of citizens at that time that said, well, let's at least revisit it in 3 years. So actually the deadline on the moratorium is October 15th, 2017. And then when Trustee Rowe was on the board, he helped put together some language and pushed for this ordinance to make it permanent instead of having a revisit timeline. Would it be better if I read it? Would that help? An ordinance of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Arriba, Lincoln County, to extend the termination of ordinance number 138 concerning the prohibition of marijuana cultivation facilities, product manufacturing facilities, testing facilities, and retail marijuana stores. That we did pass the moratorium on September 8th, 2014, which prohibits the operation and all of those functions, and that the board did approve the ordinance and it would be effective up through October 15th, whereas the board has since determined that it's in the best interest of the citizens of the town of the ordinance that the ordinance in effect indefinitely until such time may determine that the ordinance should be further amended or no longer enforceable. Now therefore be ordained by the Board of Trustees. Oh, is this not quite the right?
No.
Oh, this is the revision?
It just has these
Okay.
3 extra whereases.
Okay, whereas the board has determined the provisions of the fines and forfeiture in Ordinance 138 are insufficient, it also places fines and forfeitures language in here. And the board has determined the provisions regarding violation require clarification and expansion, and the town of Arriba should be able to seek court intervention to stop violations, and that the moratorium is made indefinite.
So that would include like a grow operation as well?
Right. As long as it's anything beyond personal, there's state laws for personal use, but yeah, nothing in the cultivation or commercial manufacturing or retail of any marijuana.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the list, I want to get back to the list. Sandy Kitzel.
I pass.
Okay. Larry Kitzel. Okay. All righty. Kenny Mills.
I didn't realize. I just came to the circus portion.
Okay, no problem. Who's that? Okay, Mr. Fike, you're next.
Okay. Well, I just have a couple of questions. And one is, why don't we have a municipal court to enforce this ordinance? I mean, that's all good. It is going to go to a vote of the people, right, on the ballot?
No.
Why not?
Because we're passing an ordinance, if we pass it tonight. This ordinance will take effect
Within 30 days of publishing.
But aren't
after
you,
30 days of publishing.
But aren't you modifying a Colorado constitutional amendment in either Amendment 12 or 64? Just like when you did the term limits, that also was referred by the board to a public vote? Do you recall? You did it, you were the mayor. I just wondered if this was also gonna go to a public vote, and if not, why not?
Okay,
I would say that he needs to state his pros and cons reasons.
okay. I know the action that we're taking on this ordinance is done at the board level.
And I
And-
reserve as much time as I got left.
Okay, that's fine. And that's why we're taking it just like we did the moratorium earlier. And very similar to the actions that were taken all up and down all the other municipalities in Lincoln County.
I've done some research on the subject. It was supposed to be done under the moratorium, but I just did it on my own. I found some things I don't like at all. First of all, on the retail side, selling in the store, then you get what we all don't want, and that is the criminal element that comes with it. Then on the other side, like he was mentioning, like a wholesale grow, that was recently tried in the city of Walsenburg, which I'm very familiar with. And what happened there is everybody got into the big pot deal. So even the Budweiser distributorship sold his distributorship, put about 30 people out of jobs, took his buildings, filled them up with pot, and so did the surplus store, and so did just about everybody but the Safeway. So it had kind of the opposite effect. The difference between Alamosa and Arriba is Alamosa had businesses to begin with, and Arriba doesn't have a lot. But anyway, that's all I've been able to
Okay.
determine, Troy.
All right, thank you. TJ,
That's me.
oh, okay, Tammy.
I'd like to thank you for taking the time to hear people tonight. I'd just like to review a few statistics on marijuana crime rates. Since the legalization of less than an ounce of marijuana on December 6, 2012, Seattle has seen an unprecedented increase in property crimes defined as burglary, motor vehicle theft, and larceny. In 2012, there were 32,000. 2013, 37,000. 2014, 41,000. Property crimes have increased more than a quarter in the 2 years following legalization, with motor vehicle thefts up by more than 50%. Closer to home in Denver, findings from Metropolitan State University, 2012, there were 56,000 crimes. 2013, an increase of 29,000 to 73,000 crimes, and another 15% to 84,000 in 2014. Science informs us that there are serious problems with marijuana usage, and there's recently a book written by drug scholar William Bennett, Going to Pot, Why the Rush to Legalize Marijuana and Harming America. They state that because the marijuana industry is well funded and organized, they are winning their game, mostly because the general public is not well informed, and proponents often misrepresent the facts on legalization. Pot that was common many years ago contained around 5% THC, and that's what makes you high. And now it's in the dispensaries here in Colorado, it's often as much as 30%. So teen usage in Colorado is at 28%, while nationally it's 18%. So we have higher than normal teen usage. Those are the years most critical for brain development. So why would we want to expose teens to those problems? There are already enough problems with alcohol and prescription drugs already. Some of the recognized problems with pot use are impaired driving, poor memory and ability to learn, problem solving, short attention span, anxiety attacks, depression, delusions, hallucinations, breathing problems, cancer, fertility, birth defects, damage to the immune system, loss of IQ, and potential addiction. So I would ask that the board continue to prohibit marijuana in Arriba and pass ordinance 138.
Thank you. All right. Next we have Michael Yao.
I signed up for all law enforcement officers. Is that all right?
Okay, absolutely.
Introducing everybody, I'm Captain Michael Yao from Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. This is Sheriff Tom Nestor, Under Sheriff Gordon Knoll, Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. Chief Lynn Yao, the Lyman Police Department, Under Sheriff Robbie Furrow of the Kit Carson County Sheriff's Office. I want to talk to you guys tonight a little bit about expanding this, and we're all opposed to any expanding of the marijuana laws, and we would, amendment, or ordinance 138, we would just assume go indefinite. Sheriff Nestor?
DUI cases have increased in Lincoln County. I mean, we can prove that, just like you said. Matter of fact, I pulled one over on the way over here, and they're arresting him right now. Have you heard any different? Right here at Arriba on I-70. We've had increased arrests for illegal possession and transport of marijuana. Most of these arrests have been from out of state. Last year alone, I think we had 2 high-speed chases. One in particular with over 300 pounds of marijuana that I was involved with myself. There have already been loads. This year's no different. We've already had loads of marijuana. These people from out of state come here and they get this marijuana from different places, and they take it out of state because they can make more money. We had an arrest Friday night with over 50 pounds, and it's a problem. It's people come here, you know, these distributors say they're going to sell you an ounce, or if you're out of state, but they go from this one to this one to this one to this one, and they get all these loads and they take it out of town. Money from the sales of marijuana is mostly done in cash. Banks won't hold this. I think with these kind of issues, if a shop was opened up here, you take the chance of getting robberies or burglaries because of the cash and the marijuana on the premises. I have 5 patrol officers for 2,600 square miles. If I've got a deputy at Rush, it's going to take him an hour to get here if there's a bad problem involving this. Out of state, these guys, I meet with these sheriffs from surrounding states at our sheriff conferences. These guys are getting hammered from Colorado. Right now, people have to drive to the Front Range to get their marijuana, which don't make it any better other than the personal grows people are allowed to have. They have a lot more officers to deal with any robberies, crimes involving these shops. If we put a shop, if we would legalize this and put a shop in Arriba, Colorado, you got everybody from Nebraska, Kansas, you know, coming out here to get their marijuana because they don't have so far to drive. And then we're going to have to deal with these Nebraska and Kansas officers that are getting hammered already. So we are unanimously opposed to this. I'm sure Kit Carson County has dealt with this as well.
Absolutely, we have the same staffing levels, and obviously Arriba is not in my jurisdiction, but 5 miles down the road it becomes my problem, or our problem, in Kit Carson County. We have the same staffing issue. So if we have somebody, a lot of times we're short-handed, so we have one person on for our county. Obviously, we do mutual aid with Lincoln County all the time. We help each other out because there's just a few of us. If I have somebody in Burlington trying to come here to help, it's an hour to get here. So we wholeheartedly agree with Lincoln County and oppose anything because we are so close and we just see bad things.
You have staff that homes in here.
This just came out in January 2016, the legalization of marijuana and what it's done in the state of Colorado for the last 4 years. And they did a study from 2011 to 12 when medical marijuana came about, and then moved it to 13 and 14 when it became recreational marijuana. And then users, just like he was speaking about, 12 to 17-year-old kids, folks, increased by 20% in a 4-year period right there. On college-age kids, when you go from 18 to 25, there's been an increase of 17%, and it's 42% higher than the national average just in Colorado college-age students right now at the point of medical marijuana usage. And then you go to the adults 26 years and older, and it's 104% higher than the national average. And it's a 51% increase higher from 2011 to 2014. Goes up 104% on usage in 26 and older adults. So I think the stats are clearly showing the state of Colorado, because the state of Colorado is leading on the marijuana deal right now in every category possible, and that goes from age 12, 26 and older.
One of the trends that we've seen in hitting on your point is this truly is a gateway. This isn't the buying, sell, and transport. What we're seeing, the other pursuit that the sheriff referenced, was this kid had an automatic Uzi with it, and I tied into the chase, and we went all the way to East Colorado, where we finally got him stopped. Millers, and we stopped him because he ran out of gas, but he had an Uzi and a load of dope in the trunk. That's what we're bringing in. That's the potential here. I would love to be able to tell you that that's not going to happen, but the bottom line is, we can show it on paper all day. These loads of dope are just the scratch of the surface to the property crimes, burglaries, robberies, weapons violations, high-speed chases, all things that nobody likes. But that's That's a trend, and that's the facts. That's where we're at.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Will, Rowe.
Probably just going to echo some of what they said, so I won't repeat. I was one of the people who urged the board not to knee-jerk throw in a permanent moratorium at the time, but I think the past year and a half has put us in a very different position. It is now sitting as the only town on the I-70 corridor between Denver and the Kansas border that does not have a permanent moratorium. Which I think if we should put something in here or leave this door open will result in us becoming like the target area. Just like the officers and sheriff said, we will then become the magnet area for Nebraska, for Kansas, for anything else, and I don't think that's a situation we want. Practically, I think in this town, we don't even have a sales tax. DJ's doesn't pay us a sales tax. We don't have the infrastructure or the governmental regulation or capacity to deal with this in any way, shape, or form. My viewpoint is we have a pretty good little town here, but we can't come together on trash or anything else. I don't know how in the world we're going to manage something that drops like a nuclear bomb in terms of dealing marijuana. Of course, the town can't undo the state constitution. People are still going to be able to smoke. They're still going to have that right. This is going to simply follow along, as I understand it, with moratoriums consistent by the majority of towns. And frankly, I would just urge us to leave this problem to places that have already put stuff in place to deal with it, which we don't have. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Jack, you're next. No, did you not sign it?
We'll do it. Just as long as we're clear, there's no
Okay.
sales tax there, but we'll benefit zero from
Yeah. Brian Milburn, you're next on the list.
I guess most of the people in this room know me. For those of you who don't, I'm Brian Milburn. I work at the prison in Lyman, Department of Corrections. I work quite a bit with parole. Years ago, I handled the dope dog through the county on kind of a limited capacity. My dog and I were the 2007 Narcotics Detection Team of the Year for the Colorado State Canine Association, so I've got a little bit of an idea what's going on here. We were talking, the law enforcement people brought up the fact of the, the illegal drug trade, the weapons, the things that go along with it. The fact is that we had these things prior to marijuana being legalized. And I'm not saying that I'm for this or I'm against it, but I think we tend to bury our heads in the sand. I mean, there's not a person, there are people selling marijuana, methamphetamine, and other drugs right here in this town every day. We all know who they are. And if we think we're going to block that simply by blocking this issue, it isn't going to happen. I commend everybody for coming out tonight. But this isn't going to stop it. What this would do, again, I'm not for it or against it, but this might allow us to regulate it a little bit. And they talk about we're not supposed to have it grow in the city limits. Well, if I'm not mistaken, the mansion's in town, is that correct?
No, it's never been
It's
annexed.
Not annexed? Okay, well, we're growing it right outside of town. And this is another thing, we're just not controlling it. And don't get the idea that this will. And, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, next on our list we have Andy Jones. Oop, put it back to Jay.
I don't really have anything to add, but I'm sure not in favor of it.
Okay, Jake Mitchell.
As a parent, I'm deeply opposed to not approving this ordinance. There's too many temptations in our society already for young adults to acquire marijuana or other drugs necessary to do that. And for young adults, there's too many no tolerance policies within schools, within employers, where they may experience some stupid mistake as a young kid getting a hold of marijuana and have it follow the rest of their life. So as a parent, maybe our efforts are in vain here, but I think I want to try to make every effort possible to eliminate those possibilities of temptation where our kids can obtain a drug that may affect them for the rest of their life, just making a stupid mistake as a kid.
Okay, Chris Davis.
I'm on a task too. Sales tax was on my list, and cost of Lincoln County. I think that's been covered pretty well.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Skipper.
Can I let Jeff talk for me? Was that possible? My voice is not.
No.
So you're gonna, oh,
Okay. Basically, I don't understand what y'all doing with this pot thing right now.
you missed part of it. The sheriff let us all know. I've been trying to get some research done. They laid it all out. They're having all kinds of nightmares.
Well, I understand that, but right now, we need to worry about a municipal court. We do not have our third part of our government.
Okay.
That's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you.
That is okay.
All right, it is 7:30. We have a few more minutes. Does anybody else want to say anything else?
Yeah.
We have Tyler Anderson. His hand up was up first.
Make a note, from what you've heard tonight, I see absolutely no reason to put this to local people. The additional expenses you're going to incur by having to have a vote and everything, I think it's pretty clear here that 90-some-odd% are not in favor, or are in favor of passing 138 and eliminating marijuana. So it seems obvious to me.
Jonathan?
I'm with Tyler Anderson on that thought. We voted for a board for a reason, and we communicate with the board to know our views. A lot of people showed interest to you that we do not want marijuana in this town, and I would just like to say, please keep that in mind that we do not want it in this town. My last note would be, Jeff Fike does not represent my political views.
Okay.
Okay, everybody.
All right, Jeff, we have about 3 minutes, okay? Okay.
Well, Jonathan, you don't represent mine either, so thank you. I've just been quite curious because I tried to do some research, and I'd even gone down to the sheriff's office to talk to him, but he's a pretty busy fellow. But the whole idea was research. The idea was, you look at the surface, well, there's supposedly bazillions of dollars in tax money from retail marijuana. Well, but like the sheriff said, there's two sides to that coin, so I did some research. And it turns out that would be the last thing that I would want in town. The only piece I didn't have information on is what the sheriff and everybody brought in tonight. But I would just love to know where the idea came from that it started with some rumor about opening a pot store at Audine's, that I heard the source might be here in this room if they be so bold as to identify themselves. But at any rate, I think, let's just have a show of hands. How many people do not want to see pot? Don't want to see retail marijuana. How many people do, and I'll deal with you guys. How many people do want to see it? Well, I would say if this was a poll, we would have it. I just think that we should all have a right to vote on it because, like it's been brought to my attention by Jake Mitchell, there's 135 of us, but I don't see personally any issue, and I'm not going to carry anybody else's water other than on the people's ordinance. So that's all I have. But I was trying to do some research on the subject, and like I said, Alamosa destroyed that town. Denver, over off of Wrightsville, off Pilot, and Parker Road, has turned into an absolute nightmare because you're sitting there right on the border between Denver and Arapahoe County, so you got all these thuglets coming in from God knows where out of state, like the sheriff said. And the last thing I'd like to do is see that narrow. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now
Roy, can I change my mind and say something for 1 minute?
Not
about marijuana.
Okay. We need to stick to the hearing on marijuana.
Okay. I just want to put in a plug for sales tax.
Okay.
We need sales tax in there. And I'd like everybody in there to start thinking about that. It's only a few pennies out of every dollar. It's not going to impact us except to be a positive influence. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask board comments, questions. Jody? Karen? Caleb? Marcella? Okay. All right, well, that being said, we'll maybe make a, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I move that we close the hearing.
Yes, we move and second to close the hearing. All those in favor signify by stating aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. If you would like to talk in the public portion of the public meeting, which is right now, we're going to start the meeting. We have another sign-up sheet. And we need you to do that so that we can manage the time. So if you have something to say for the public portion, Austin wants to put his name on there. Please do so.
Now, Troy will have a separate time under the people's ordinance? Okay.
Will you have a separate time on the people's ordinance?
As proponent?
No, we need to do that in the public portion.
Oh, that's right, okay.
All right. Okay, I'm now going to call the meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Arriba to order. And would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call is that Mayor Flores is absent, so I am sitting in as Mayor Pro Tem. Otherwise, we have a full-seated board.
Yeah, let's pass it around.
All right.